You don't actually have to be one. How many of you guys like fire? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I like fire too, except when it is crawling down the hills beside my home as I scramble to throw all of my belongings into my car. This is the before picture from my hometown of Santa Rosa. And so as I continue my speech, I'd just like you all to look at that picture and ponder it. So 2 years ago, the Tubbs Fire ripped through my sweet city of Santa Rosa, destroying at least 52,000 homes and killing 22 people. 3 weeks ago, it happened again, this time destroying over 77,000 acres, but claiming no lives, because this time we were prepared. This time we knew how to evacuate from a fire because we'd been through this before. Today, I'm going to teach all of you how to evacuate. There's 4 steps. The first one is to make a plan. This is the most crucial step because once you're in the midst of this fire, there is no thinking going on. There is just action. So you need to make an evacuation plan. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What are you going to bring? You need to have a communication plan because likely you're with your family, and if you're like my family, we had 4 cars. So I drove a car, my grandpa drove a car, my dad drove a car, and my mom drove a car, and so we needed to stay in touch or else we would have gotten lost because there are hundreds of thousands of cars on the road all going to separate places. So it's very important to know how you're going to be communicating with those that you love because especially like me, if you're a child, you need to be able to stay in contact with your parents because you don't really know what's going on. You need to include your pets. Your pets are defenseless and they need your help to survive this. I have seen so many pets lost, killed in this fire, and it's sad because a lot of the time it is preventable. And you need to establish a meeting area. This is so important because sometimes if you do get lost and you do have that lack of communication, you need to know where you all can meet and figure out what is going to happen from there. A big, huge part of even figuring out what's going on is setting up the phone alerts in advance. So where I live, we have this thing called Nixle, and it would be this huge alarm in the middle of the night that would go off saying that there's fires in our area. And then NBCLA tells us that these alerts send geographically targeted text messages that notify us as residents about these fire evacuations. And so this, I don't think that the number of deaths would even be so low as 22 if this had not been sent out in advance. So the second step is to prepare your home. When you leave, you need to leave your windows closed, but you do need to leave your windows unlocked because, say, someone was stuck inside, the firefighters need to be able to get in easily. But you want them closed because if you do not leave them closed, your entire house is going to have smoke damage and you're going to have to replace basically everything, which is a huge hassle, it's very expensive, and it is not fun. You need to move your flammable items to the center of the room. If your house is on fire, there's not much that's going to happen, but it is helping to prevent that from even happening because if it can't catch, then it might go away. You also need to leave your lights on so that the firefighters can see through the smoke if they do have to go and try to rescue anyone from inside the house. The City of Albuquerque Fire Safety reminds us to detach electrical garage doors. This is such an important step. I don't know if my friend's family would be alive if this wasn't what they had done beforehand because it is so hard to open those garage doors when they are electrical and you have not detached them. And then now I'm going to pass out the after picture from my hometown just so you can see the damage that was done. And as you look at that, I'm going to continue. So the third step is to make an emergency supply kit. So CAL FIRE recommends that you pack a 3-day supply of non-perishable food and 3 gallons of water per person because this way, at least if you do get stranded or something happens, you'll be able to survive a few days on your own. And then you have to bring your important documents. Of course, if you're running out of the house and you cannot grab your important documents, it is not the end of the world. But if you can only grab one thing, it should be these because a lot of the time they are not replaceable. The fourth step is to just get in your car and go because you need to get to a safe, far place where you will not be harmed because the most important thing is your life. But remember to contact your friends, your neighbors, and make sure that they are safe, because a lot of the times people won't hear these Nixle alerts, or they will be out of town. Sometimes it's just, luckily for me, when it happened, it was on a Sunday, so everyone was home. But if it had been on a Saturday, no one would have been home. And so it's very important to stay in contact with all of your friends and neighbors to make sure that they are all safe. And bring pets. I emphasize this so much. Please bring your pets. Do not leave them. There's nothing they can do once this fire is happening. But if, like many of my friends, your home is already on fire when you find out about it, you just need to get out. You need to drive if you can. If you can't drive, you need to bike. And if you can't bike, you need to run. Because nothing is as valuable as your life, so don't waste your time trying to take material items that you will be able to replace one day. I have never seen such a terrifying sight as driving down the freeway and seeing a cop lead a trail of cars on the opposite side of the freeway as fire pours down on either side of us. And so I'm lucky that I even got to see that and that I got out, and I'm lucky that my home has survived both times. But many, many of my friends were not so lucky both times. And so it seems to be this recurring nightmare. It just happened 2 years ago, it happened again, and I feel like it probably will happen again in the future because of the climate and how everything is changing so much. But because of this, it is wise to know how to protect yourself, your belongings, and those that you love. I hope that you guys never have to face anything like this, but if you do, I hope you feel more prepared to handle it through making a plan, preparing your home, making an emergency supply kit, and getting into your car and going.